The Dallas Mavericks preseason has begun. They suffered a devastating 121-116 loss to the Grizzlies.
Because Dereck Lively didn't get enough minutes.
Okay, well, I don't actually, just for the record, think it's devastating whatsoever. But Dereck Lively going coast to coast right like that and just being like, yeah, I'll just keep the ball and go all the way up the court. It was freaking amazing. But the Mavericks did start the game with Hardy, Dinwiddie, Grimes, Marshall, and Gafford, like your logical second unit five. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciated that we got the opportunity to see that out there. But seeing Dereck Lively go coast to coast in a preseason game, I'm going to ask you this. Are our and my expectations for his acceleration in year two going to be too high?
No.
Hell yeah.
And I say this because he did want to spend this offseason adding threes. And whenever he was given the chance last year, he made them.
Yes.
And he was like, I can do this. They don't want me to do it yet. So that was the thing that kind of hindered their offense a little bit at times. If he can leak out a little bit and do that, then Kevin, the ceiling is the roof for that moment. So I don't really know what your expectations are. Like if you're saying MVP, maybe yes. Maybe it's a little too high. Where are you? Are you NBA second team?
13-9. Dude, if he makes all NBA second team, we're going to be the number one seed in the West.
Because you believe that the other three veterans are good enough.
Well, plus, if you're second team all NBA, that means you're one of the 10 best players for the season. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get the number one seed if that happens. 13-9. 13 points a game, 9 rebounds a game. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'd like 13-11.
I mean, that'd be great.
Anything in between there would suck.
Yes, and be out of date. All right, so a couple of other notes for you. We talked about the Najee Marshall quote.
I'm sorry, can I had one other question on Lively.
Yeah.
Do we have the two most flexible, not like bendy, but most flexible big men in the NBA, like as a couple?
I don't think
as a pair, not
I
a
don't
couple, Alec.
Think so, just because we still haven't seen them play together. Because I would make a really strong argument that the most flexible big man tandems can be on the court at the same time.
Who else is out there that you would say is comparative?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I would have gone Gobert and Cat at the time, but
yeah,
I still like them more.
Since Cat moved.
And maybe Mike would be able to hit that Rolodex a little bit faster, thinking that. And I don't know who's on Denver that could compare there. Maybe Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, but see, I don't think, and that's the same thing I think about. Like Anunoby is not a big. I'm not going to put Denver in that category either. But I do think you see multiple situations across the NBA where you can play two bigs at once.
Fouls wise, I get why they don't do it, but you're right, man. That would be a wrecking ball of chaos for an opponent going, how do we stop these two guys? Especially when you have that lob included as well.
No, absolutely. So something to keep an eye out on. Jason Kidd said the other day, I believe it was during media day, that he wants PJ Washington to be a playmaker and push the ball this year, as opposed to you feed the ball to Luka or Kyrie and they're going to go. And one of the things that PJ Washington said is he wants to be a 40% three-point shooter.
Ooh.
We might need to do a segment at some point, maybe next week, if this is your Mavericks wish list, like what takes priority. Because Lively taking another big step up, PJ Washington becoming a distributor, or him becoming a 40% shooter, seeing Gafford and Lively on the court at the same time in usable complementary roles. I think all of those would be good.
The part of becoming a 40% three-point shooter is, I feel like he's saying corner three is where he feels he can dominate the most.
That's where Lively will be shooting.
I would love for him to be able to stretch that around the corner, top of the arc at the break. I would love for him to be able to do that more consistently too, if he's going to be that kind. Because Kevin, you're saying Kidd wants him to push the ball.
Yes.
If he's pushing the ball, is he just going and standing in a corner? Is he able to do a little more from the top and from the outside?
I think so, but I also wonder if that means that you have three players, like potentially on the floor at the same time that can push the tempo, push the ball, and cut to the basket, if that could become a nightmare for having to cover. Like, can you imagine if PJ, Kyrie, and Luka were all capable of driving to the or willing to drive to the basket, and they have Dereck Lively standing in the corner, and you're like, well, I don't guard that guy?
Yeah, that would be. I think this is the most fun Jason Kidd will have coaching because of the little chess pieces he gets to move around on this board, and Klay Thompson being part of it. Just kind of, it's icing on the cake for him because he can do so many different things.
And from the 214, if healthy, is Klay getting 25 plus minutes a night? I actually think 25 is probably
too much.
About where I would think it would be.
I'm gonna say 22.
Yeah, 22 to 25 makes a lot of sense to me. But then again, if he just starts raining threes like we've seen in the past, then maybe that will change quickly.
And Dawson's brought it up a couple different times too. Is he going to be on the court in the final five defensively? Because if you need points, you want him out there. But is he a good enough defender still? And based on what we saw the last few years, he declined.
Yes. Absolutely.
Can being part of the Mavs team defense accelerate him back to something of a really good defender?
See, and that's the tough part, because if you're going to pair, I'm not saying this would be the case, but if you're going to pair Klay, Kyrie, and Luka all in the last 5 minutes, is that a trio of mediocre at best defenders?
Yes.
And
it's tough to have those three on the court.
And that's how you're going to have to kind of balance it.
Would you rather have Klay or Kai on the court
I would rather have Kyrie Irving on the court.
Defensively too?
I think
until proven otherwise.
I think his aggressiveness offensively, or the potential for
his creativity.
Yeah, it offsets him being a worse defender.
Okay.
Is what I would go with.
Somebody did ask Kevin, what channel can we watch the Mavs games on?
It's 29, right? I don't know the name of the channel. I'm sorry. It's 29.
Estrella? Was it Estrella TV or something? I don't know.
I don't remember.
We'll look it up.
I'm sorry. But as far as I know for now.
Stop asking Kevin is what he just said, right?
Okay. They're not. I mean, obviously they're not going to be on Victory Plus. So they're going to be broadcast 29. Look, maybe they can cut another deal. I don't know. But for now, they're going to be on channel 29.
Okay.
All right. Can I ask you some questions across the NBA to go along with our Mavericks discussion?
Oh, hold on. No, before you do that, what are your feelings on what Spencer Dinwiddie's role is going to be this year? Because I saw somebody last night, I can't remember how the conversation went, but they said would love to see him as a second team distributor and with the lobs to the guys like Gafford and some of the other bigs we have.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes, because you think Najee Marshall's already been showing that as well. I think last night was an interesting indication that, theoretically, not that you are going to automatically sub out your entire starting five at the same time, but that Hardy would be paired with Dinwiddie, Grimes, Marshall, and Gafford. And then I think Gafford and Lively are still interchangeable in terms of the units that you rolled them out there with. So if Dinwiddie and Marshall can just be going to town on those lobs to Lively or Gafford, that would be optimal.
And we discussed last year, maybe PJ wasn't necessarily the guy that finished it, but a lot of times the ball got through him.
Yeah.
And I think Dinwiddie might be kind of the same thing too. And then from the 5-6-1, go get Mavericks. I agree.
Yes.
They already went and got Mavericks, honestly.
Get Mavericks. All right.
Boach is in on that. So
questions across the NBA. Do you think that the Grizzlies will be contenders with the return of Ja Morant? And I guess bonus question.
Well, is he okay?
How long will that return last?
Yeah, didn't he hurt himself last night? He did something on a dunk, and then he left the court. I think he came back shortly after.
Yeah. Whether it's injuries or whatever else, will he be out there and make them a contender?
I think he misses 30% of the games this year.
Okay.
And not because I don't think it's off-court stuff. Derrick Rose's body couldn't hold up how violent he played.
Sure.
I think Ja Morant has a little bit of that in him too. Now, the last couple of years not playing as much might help, but
by the way, Taylor Jenkins described it as a minor little tweak in his ankle for Ja Morant. You know? And so they are not worried about it.
That wasn't mine.
All right. I'm kind of glad, kind of sad that Mike's not here for this question. because this feels like the thing he hates more in the NBA than anything else right now. Are LeBron and Bronny James historic father-son pairing going to be special? Or do you think it's going to happen and you're like, oh, but you're still not good? We'll see in a couple of years. For Bronny, not LeBron.
I guess, how many of the fans that have interest in LeBron love LeBron? Like, love his story? Or is it just like, man, he's that great? I don't love LeBron, but I recognize how great that dude has been.
I think LeBron is like the Cowboys in terms of it's probably 60% fandom, 40% hate watch. Okay. Something in that general vicinity.
And do you think maybe 20 of that just like really die hard love him, or do you think that full 60?
No, I think just about that full 60 are like all in.
Then I think that there's going to be a huge audience for that. That they're going to find it touching, and they're going to find it to be something that is interesting and fun for that guy. I mean, not a lot of sports that you get to do that in. The Griffeys got to do it. That's a really cool thing. It's kind of fun to see it. Somebody said neither one can play. LeBron's too old and Son's not good.
Okay.
That might be true.
No, it's not. LeBron James last year shot 57% from the field while averaging 28.7 rebounds and 9 assists a game. That's incredible.
Sounds like the lowest stats of his career.
Okay, well, fine. It's still, and there's a couple years at the start. It's still better than. That is still amazing.
He can't make free throws.
Well, you know what? That's a fair point. He's been like about a 70. Yeah. Too tall knows. He's about a 75% free throw shooter, give or take. He's still an awesome player. Is he unquestioned best in the league? Of course not. Is he top 5? I would probably say no, but he's still really, really good.
Yeah, I think the people that love him, and you say 60% of the fans of him will be really excited about seeing this play out. I don't know how long it'll last, though, honestly.
And then, I wonder about the shine kind of wearing off.
Because what if Bronny's not good?
Yeah.
And does LeBron go, look, he's not good enough to play with me? Or does he go, nope, doesn't matter?
See, that's a great question. And because I just think he's not ready. I know it'll get described as he's not good. He's not ready. He shouldn't be here for like another 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we are where we are. So that's a great question. I honestly don't know how that is going to play out.